There we are. Good morning. Hello, everybody. Oh, man, that's some good espresso. Woo, getting straight to the point this morning. Anyways, good morning. Thank you for finding this channel. In this video, guys, we are going to start a series on order flow. You're going to see some incredible stuff that I've been teaching for the last, 5 years, 6 years, to quite a close group of people. But I'm deciding to kind of open this up a little bit. You're going to see some free stuff here on YouTube. A lot of free stuff here in this new Discord. It's free. Come on in. And we're going to talk all about the tape. We're going to talk about fractal mathematics and how the market really moves. We're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff. But this video is going to be focused mainly on order flow. Okay? So before I jump into this, let me just give you a brief introduction to myself. My name is Sean. Hello. What's up? What's going on? I've basically been trading order flow about 6 years, 7 years now. I've been around since pre-COVID doing this stuff. So order flow is a really cool thing, and we're going to dig into what it is and what it isn't. We're going to dig into my custom footprint charts, my custom studies that I built for order flow reading, and stuff that I've coded to get it exactly how I want to see it. Because it's important for me to have things perfect. And then also, I use order flow as a confirmation tool. Okay, a confirmation tool to my levels. Okay, levels that I trade are all based off fractal mathematics. So the market, and I'll dig into this in another video, but just to give you a bird's eye view, the market moves off fractal mathematics. Okay, it's always trading within a pre-calculated grid of levels. These levels can expand, they can contract. But when people talk about, the market moves off liquidity and all this stuff, that's true, but they're not understanding why it's sitting in a specific area. And unless you really understand the mathematics behind how they calculate, you won't understand what I'm talking about. Because every day has a roadmap of levels and how it's trading within this certain grid of levels. And it's extremely predictable, and that's what I trade. I trade the math, right? Order flow is a confirmation tool of buyers and sellers stepping in at a specific level, and that level gives me a roadmap of where price will go. And I do it every day. Doesn't matter what you do. Put it on ES, NQ. You can put it on blue chip stocks, treasuries. You can put it on $2 pump and dumps. I run the same mathematics on. I used to run it on low cap stocks. It's all the same stuff. It's just division and multiplication. And once you understand the mathematics behind it, it's all good. But let's get into order flow. All right, I'll expand about it during this replay. You're gonna see some dots. Actually, I should disable them. Actually, I'll let it run. I'll just cancel the orders. You're gonna see these little dots show up. This is basically my automation wanting to take trades based off triggers off levels, but I'll just cancel the orders as they come up as we dig into the tape. So this specific video, as you see on my notes here, we're going to cover a few things. Okay, what is order flow, how my footprint works, what is delta, right? We're going to get into my custom delta study. What is real support and resistance? Okay, this is key. What is real support and resistance? Intraday structure, putting the basics of what we talk about, how to put it together so you kind of get an idea of what's going on. We're trying to build a foundation here, okay? That's the important part. We're trying to build a foundation of just basic understanding of the auction, okay? And we'll do some live playback. We're going to do live playback during this whole thing while we learn anyways, okay? So let's get into it. I won't waste any time. What is order flow? Okay? You are probably pounded by people offering order flow indicators, order flow this and that. Let me tell you what it is, because that's all I do. Order flow is literally that. It is the flow of the orders. It's the tape, okay? It's the tape. Now, there's different ways that people will define what they look at order flow, okay? I only use the footprint, okay? Why? I use a heavily customized footprint chart. Why? Because the only thing you should ever care about is who is transacting and how they transact. So if you're sitting there, people will look at the dome and they will say, oh, the dome, I use the order flow in the dome. No. That's like 2002. Okay, that's old school. Don't look at the dome. Let me tell you why. And people will disagree with me, and that's fine. The dome, you're going to waste mental capital on people pulling orders, adding orders, doing this, spoofing, doing this. You don't want to waste your time and energy on stuff that is not transacting, that is fake. Okay, I don't care what's in the order book because I have math. Okay, so I don't care about, oh, there's liquidity here. I don't care about that because I understand where price will go to. Okay, and how price moves. I only care about who's putting money on the line and how they're transacting, because at the end of the day, they have to transact. This is the most important part. They have to transact. So I don't care about anything that's not on the tape. Okay? Number one. So some people may find some edge with, it's too much, man. It's too much can be faked. It's just, I don't know. It's not for me. This I can get every single little bit of information out of the market that you can really ask for. So, and I'll dig into it. Other people may use stuff like Bookmap or something like that. But again, Bookmap is like a dome. It's like a market book, right? Same deal, right? Stuff can be faked. Stuff can be pulled. Dots don't really give you any information. Volume profile, people still use that stuff. Okay, cool. Volume profile gives you no information. I mean, you say volume profiles on each one of these candles. That's true, but you've got no numbers to go by, right? You could be going by something on volume profile that's look at this big, what do they call those things? Node. But that node really doesn't have any relative volume that you can lean on, right? So that stuff is really archaic in my opinion. The footprint can be customized many different ways. Now, I do everything inside Sierra Chart. Okay, don't ask me about NinjaTrader or any other these platforms. I think they're all junk. I've been working in Sierra Charts. I code everything that I use. I code it all for Sierra Charts. So everything I do is inside the Sierra Charts ecosystem. I highly recommend you guys look at Sierra Charts. It's the best program. I offer a ton of stuff for my team, really custom coded stuff, but I'll get into it in another video. So that is order flow, is literally the tape, right? Other people may look at the time and sales. That's tape, but like you can't get in, like that stuff flies by your screen, it's gone. You can't build a case around time and sales. It's really old school stuff. Well, you see the prints, they're gone, right? Like what do you do after they're right on your screen? They're gone. You can't build a case, right? You can't go back and look at them and all that stuff, right? Here I'm literally graphing the time and sales. In a specific way. This is key. It's specific. Some people may use 1998 level 2, right? Level 2, I guess, but that's order book, right? Yes, the numbers move up and down as they transact, but it's really hard to put together a thing. Now, with the footprint, there are so many tricks on how they try to hide how they transact. And this is the key with the footprint. Once you study how they transact, everything becomes very clear. You'll be able to understand real absorption, real support, real resistance. When business is done, weak prints, weak offers, and you'll be able to tell when the top is into the tick. It's like literally one tick and how it transacts. Oh, okay, it's done. Stuff like this. Stop runs, how not to get in front of them, how they set up the stop runs, drill up, drill downs, how they drop into levels or drop up into levels on the upside. There's a certain technique that they use, and I'll explain all of this. So buckle up is all I'm going to say. Okay, these are going to be, I'm hoping that these are going to be the best videos as far as order flow goes on YouTube. There's going to be no fancy edits, but here we are. All right. So that is order flow. Okay. Order flow is literally the flow of orders. It's every order that's coming in. It's the tape. That's it. It's not an indicator. It's not anything flashy. You don't need to be sold anything. It's the tape. That's all it is, man. Okay. It's how you want to view that information. So there's, like I said, I've gone through several different ways that you can view it. I choose the footprint because it's highly customizable, and all I care about is the transactive volume, because that's who's putting money on the line. Okay, that's all you have to worry about. Who is putting their money on the line? And that is true support and true resistance. Okay, good stuff. That's our basics. Now that we got that out of the way, how my footprint works. Okay, let me take a little sippy here. How my footprint works. All right, so inside Sierra charts, this is how I set up. I'm not going to give you my exact settings because I can't give you all this crap for free. If you want, come into the community, come and support what I'm building out here. As I'm going to turn a bunch of people into order flow ninjas. Okay, but let's just talk about how it's set up, what these numbers are. So on a dome, you usually have sell side here and buy side here, right? It's opposite for how I have it laid out. On this side of the candle, this is all selling volume. So this is volume that's transacted selling. On this side, this is all buying volume. Okay? So sell side on this would sell side transacted volume, buy side transaction volume on the right. Okay? That's it. Now, every number is obviously at every little tick what's been transacted. Now, how do I control it? Here's the interesting part. I have a custom study that lets me switch between tick settings. Now, you have to understand your auction. So a tick setting for the ES is going to be different for a tick setting for the NQ because of the range it trades. Okay, so all I have to do is hit a right click and it adjusts the tick setting to what I want. What's a tick setting? A tick setting is basically going to tell me, it's going to crunch the data between a certain amount of ticks, and that's what creates these bars. Okay, so I'll typically run ES probably on a 5 tick. If we expand, I'll run it on a 7 tick. So every one of these bars is computing the numbers transacted within, say here, a 5 tick setting, right? And that's what makes up this 1141 and 1241 every 5 ticks. Now, what's the benefit of that? Well, if I set it to a 1, it's going to be way too much information, right? It's going to be way too much information. And then if I set it too high, I'm going to not be able to get any granular information. It's going to be useless, right? Because it's too much or too little, right? So if I right click this and I change this thing to like a 15, how do I get information out of that? Right? It's useless, right? I can't do that. I can't get you be like, oh, there's big seller shit. It's not enough information for me. I got to be able to zoom in on it more, right? And now what if I set it at a 2? That's really busy, right? How do I get information out of that? So you have to understand your auction, right? ES and NQ are going to be drastically different because of the range of trades. The NQ is a lot more thinner volume-wise, order book-wise, so you have to use a much higher tick setting, right? So I'll just go back to this. So you have to experiment. Am I getting the information out of this? See how I put it on here? This looks nice, right? It looks nice. And this is from years of testing. So that's tick setting. So you got to understand, for me, I have to understand the auction that I'm in, right? Every auction is going to be a little bit different. Once you find the sweet spot, you just leave it alone. And you only adjust it if we contract or expand range, right? It's really easy to do. But usually I don't touch it during the day. 90% of the time I don't have to. It's only when like big news comes in or, FOMC or something like that, which I don't really care about. So that's how that works. Okay, so again, just to cap it off, this is selling volume on this side. This is buying volume on this side. Transacted. This is the key part. It's transacted. Not sitting in the order book, not sitting there. It's transacted. Okay, and there's so much information going on in here, and we're going to replay it as it goes here as we dig into some stuff. Okay, so that's that. What else are on this footprint? That's really all you have to know is what makes up these numbers. Okay, so selling volume on this side, buying volume on this side. That's all you really got to know. And then we start to break stuff down. Okay, so the next step is, what is this red and blue and stuff like this that's going on my chart? What are these numbers that are on the right side of my chart? And that's going to bring me to my next topic. Next topic here, okay, is what is delta? Okay, what is delta? This is another term that drives me nuts with traders. They'll be like, oh, delta divergence and inverse delta and all this crap. And all delta is the difference between two sets of numbers. That's all it is, all right? It's the difference that makes it up, okay? Delta can, like, if someone is using like a delta candle and it closes red, it just means that that candle closed with a negative delta, negative amount of volume traded. It was more volume sold short than it was bought. That's all that means, right? That's all it is. So at any point, it's the difference between two sets of numbers, right? So I have this study here on the right side. This is my most important thing one of the most important thing that I built. This is my own custom delta study. Okay. Oh, we're still trading here. It looks like the hang on here. Let me just turn that off. We're still running today's price action, so the algo fired along. This is my own custom delta study. Okay. Now this is a wonderful thing, and it's available for people in the room. And again, it only works on CR charts. Don't ask me to port anything over to anything else, right? So what does it do, right? This is called this delta. This study will give me the cumulative delta in between two specific points. It's either going to be side to side or diagonal. Now, why diagonal? Well, a lot of times I look at diagonal data on my footprint. This is set up to show me diagonal data. Okay, diagonal delta. Why is that important? Because a diagonal delta will show me the imbalance in the auction. I don't look at it. There's only a specific time I look at it side by side, right? But I have it both here. A diagonal delta will show me the imbalance in the auction. Okay, it's really, really important. This is why this is showing me a buy imbalance, because we bought 1,329 contracts compared to 456 that was sold. We have a strong 300% buy imbalance, right? Up here, we bought 370 contracts at the high, but we found a very strong offer at 1,141 contracts. We found a strong offer that is a strong sell imbalance, 369, almost a 400% imbalance. Well, what happened? We found that offer. There was nobody left to buy, and bam, look what happened, right? So this is one of the custom ways that I have this stuff set up. I don't want to see side-by-side imbalances. I have it set up to show me diagonal imbalances, right? And again, don't ask me about NinjaTrader or any of those junk platforms, because I don't use them. Okay. Now, so what does this mean, right? Well, I have this side to set up to show me a diagonal delta. I have this side set up to show me a side-by-side delta at all times. These numbers are always spinning, and I'll just let it play here. And we're just doing a chart replay. This is the beautiful thing about CR charts. I can do a chart replay. It records everything. So at the end of the day, we're watching this at 4 speed, right? But as you can see, these numbers are spinning. So let's get some numbers populated, right? So what does it mean? All right. So right here. Now, 206 over 24, what does that mean? Well, we have a buy imbalance right here, just in the low of this candle. Well, what is it? It's a positive, it's a diagonal buy imbalance of 182 contracts. So if you take 206 minus 24, it's going to be 182, right? And so these numbers constantly move alongside my footprint to give me exactly what's going on. Now, am I going to buy that? Absolutely not, because I can tell right here we're selling hard. We're not selling hard, but there's a consistent offer. Right up here, we have 93 over 223. We have a negative sell imbalance of 130 contracts. We move down 138 over 378. That's a negative sell imbalance of 240 contracts. So this does the math for me, right? So I don't got to sit here and be like, oh, I'm trying to put the pieces together. I just code it so I know exactly what's going on. So these numbers are spinning, and this is where I really watch how they transact, right? And this is what I teach. Now, why are we coming down here? Well, we're backfilling, right? And then we're going to get into this intraday structure and stuff like this, right? We're backfilling this. We have to trade this out, and then maybe we can come here into my 75.39 that held beautifully all day long yesterday. And then we were buying this all day long. And then this right here, this is a side-by-side delta. So as we go down, it's looking side-by-side. It's not looking diagonal. It's just telling you side-by-side what's going on. So 206 to 226, right? On the sell side, that means we have a negative sell imbalance of 20 contracts just from here to here. 415 sold, 335 bought. That's a negative sell imbalance of 80 contracts. 101 contracts bought, 101 contracts bought, 180 contracts sold. That's a negative delta of 79. So again, I use these side by side and I use them together, right? And this is the stuff that I'll explain in further videos, but I'm just giving you a bird's eye view today, foundation on how intricate I get with the footprint and the tools that I've designed and how I have things set up. So in future, you will be able to follow along. Now, why do I love the footprint so much, man? Is because I always see it before anybody else, right? When you look at a candle, you got no idea what's going on. You're just hoping and praying that this stupid chart pattern plays out. You don't have any idea what's going on in the auction, right? You don't. I don't care what you say. You don't. You don't know where the bid is. You don't know where the offer is. You don't know how they're trying. You're just hoping that this moving average or something like that plays out, right? You don't have any idea what's going on in the auction. You could be taking this silly moving average long and you're buying right into an offer that's absorbing everything, right? And you're buying right into where there's no bid, right? And you're just hoping that this little spaghetti string on your chart does something. So what I'm hoping that you can get out of this is maybe add some skills if you still want to trade that stuff, that you can look for some confirmation, right? But majority of you traders just look at chart patterns and really silly stuff, but you have no idea what's going on in the auction, right? And this is what I'm trying to show you is they do a really good job of hiding how they transact. And it's your job to unravel that puzzle. And this is what I do, right? I have the tools set up to unravel and peel away those layers so you can really understand what's going on, right? Because they do a good job, man. Trust me. I mean, I have my own algo, but like their algo is really good too. And they do a really good job of hiding size, right? And this is why the footprint is very important because they have to transact, okay? So that's pretty much it about delta. Okay, delta, just to bring it all back, delta is just the difference between two sets of numbers, right? Basically the difference. I use a side-by-side delta and a diagonal delta, and I use them in conjunction with each other, which I'll get into in further videos with my study right here. And that's pretty much all you have to know about delta from like a bird's eye view. Now there's other, I'm sure you're going to go down the delta rabbit hole and be like delta candles, delta this, delta that. It's another buzzword like order flow that you don't have to put a lot of emphasis on. You need the raw stuff, right? This is it. Delta is the difference between two sets of numbers. How you can come to that conclusion on how you chart it, that's up to you. I do it my own way with my own custom studies, and I feel it's the best way. And I spent years developing this stuff. So that's delta. Okay, really, really important. Okay, so I know we're kind of like moving through some stuff. Go back, rewatch the videos. We're going to let the tape play here for a little bit once I get through this stuff, and we're going to walk our way through some real good basic stuff. Excuse me. What's my next topic here? Real support and real resistance. Okay. In trading, people just look for any area on a chart that holds, and they call that support or resistance. Real support and resistance is bids and offers. Okay. Bids is volume. Bids is absorption. Bids is positioning. Bids is your real support, right? Same with the offers. That's the inverse of that. Offers is supply. Offers are the inability for the bid to move past it. That is your real support and resistance. Now, people will just say, well, I'll just take where, it holds on the chart and blah, 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 blah. But the problem with that is that you're buying, a lot of times you're going to be buying an area, say that maybe held previously, but it held really quickly and there's no volume there, right? Like maybe just pull back and a little bit. No one was interested in doing an auction there, but some random buying came in there just enough to push it back up, and we kept going. So you're going to put your order there, but you don't have any bid support there sitting at that area. So when it comes down to fill you, it fills you, and you just go, see you later. And you're like, oh, why didn't what happened? It's because there's no support there, right? There's no interest in holding there because you bought an area that had no built up order flow. So order flow, real support, real resistance is imbalances. Okay, big, large prints that hold, that on the bid side, that when we come into it, the sell side is absorbed and we have very weak sell prints into the lows. On the buy side, it's very weak bids into the offer, strong sell imbalances. Okay, wow, this thing still wants to keep trading here. This is going on live here on the half day. Okay, that is real support and resistance. The tape shows stuff. So when you're buying like a moving ad, like if you don't have transacted volume in that area, you're at risk of just like falling through. So you're just hoping that the chart works, right? And this is what I'm trying to show you, is that there's a whole other world out there if you're willing to work at it, because it's not easy. You got to have a program like Sierra where you can replay it and just like drill it into your eyes. Where you are buying somewhere. So just let me get caught up. You are buying somewhere. You're just hoping that this little chart pattern works, but you don't have any granular information to base that decision on. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense. So you're buying this moving average. Oh, I'm buying this VWAP, and you're just hoping it's an area in the chart that enough people join for it to work, right? But you have no idea about the tape, right? And this is what's the most important part, right? If there's no volume transacted at the area you want to transact to, that means there's nobody important willing to hold that area, right? So you're sitting there with your area, I'm just going to buy it here, and it just doesn't work. And you're like, how come, right? And this is why like moving average traders, chart pattern traders, all the guys that just focus on the chart, they continuously get ran through because they're not basing it off real support resistance. That's all I wanted to say. Okay, so that's real support, real resistance. And we're going to dig into this stuff, but I just wanted to give you like a bird's eye view of this so you understand where I'm coming from and the topics that are going to be discussed in this series of videos. Okay, now let's talk about intraday structure. Okay, now this is getting a little bit away from what I really want to talk about, but this is going to be a real brief thing. So during the day, the market is trading, obviously, these levels. It's trading tape. But it's also developing structure. Structure for me is obviously support and resistance, levels that are traded. That gives me a roadmap of where prices go and order flows to confirmation. But it also does stuff like this. Okay. You get these strong pushes. Now, I never take continuation off these pushes, and I'll tell you why. I usually fade them because during the day, when you get a push like this, it leaves behind a whole bunch of thin prints. Okay, thin prints means little business, right? We didn't do any business there. Everybody sees this, and they keep buying. They're like, "Hurrah, let's go! Oh, huge candle, let's go!" I always look for this thing to reverse. Why? Because the market needs to backfill and repair that structure. It needs to come back and trade it out, right? Trade it out, trade volume, trade order flow in there. This is stuff like this are little pockets that develop intraday, and you'll see it a lot of times during the open balance session. I talk about it all the time live on the mic with the team. It will come back and backfill this, right? Because we didn't do any business. We did business here previously, and then it leaves behind this little, I call it like a volume gap, whatever you want to call it. People in volume profile might be like, oh, I don't know, whatever. But I always know this will come back and backfill, right? So even if it keeps going, I know eventually we're going to come back down here, right? And this is what this candle did right here. We're coming back and we're going to backfill this out. So the tape and the day as it's trading, it's constantly building out structure, right? Market doesn't like weak points, gaps in structure. It likes to fill it all out and basically keep things happy, right? You will find the odd time you will get this and it will keep going. Now, this is typically like on an up day, it's going to be a short cover day where they put the bid up here that doesn't come back and that's it, right? Really aggressive buying, it continues and goes on. But unless I see a bid step up here on this close, there's no bid here until down here. So I wait for price to all the way come back down here and then I judge the close, right? So I never chase this stuff because there's no support here. right? So we pushed this thing up, and I'll get into this stuff and explain why, but I'm just giving you my brief explanation why I would never chase this, because there's no support, right? So it closes, and everyone just tries to buy the breakout. They buy the breakout, and they just get unloaded into, and that's typical. So intraday structure is constantly forming areas that need to be revisited, repaired, weak bids, weak sells, market reverses, business being done in areas. All these areas, all these things can be seen on the footprint, right? Just by looking at what's in front of you. We'll talk about all of that, but not on this video. We're going to dig into it. I got to save topics, and I don't want to get too far left or right of what our core focus is here today. It's just talking about the foundation of tape, okay? And that's pretty much for intraday structure. Now, you're going to find stuff like during the balance session, you're going to find bids and offers right at the open print. This is typical stuff. We never trade the open. We typically aren't looking for trades until at least past 10 a.m., right? We don't really touch the 9:30 session just because we know how the market moves, and we're not interested. Like, see this big, huge sell here at 9:30 right off my 75, 78 level? Those moves they just happen. And these moves I'm never in, right? Ever. Because I don't trade 1 minute candles or anything, right? I don't care about this move because it came down to right to where I wanted to buy it yesterday, which was 75.39. And as you can see, my level held all day long, and we had some really, really nice trades off it. Gave us about 8R in total on these rotations. But what was I saying here? We're talking about intraday structure. You'll find out people transacted IB high and IB low. Those are the only other areas outside my actual system that I watch. But when you watch the footprint, you will get a gauge of who is transacting where. And this is like a really key topic. Retail will buy 75.50, right? They'll buy 7,500. They'll buy the 10s, 50s, they'll buy the whole numbers because they think that's like where people buy. Trust me. They want you to do that. So you will see people transacting somewhere and you'll be like, oh, okay, I know who's transacting there. Or if we push up 15 points, say on the ES, and we pull back 5, I know exactly who's transacting there. Like, oh, okay, those are moving average traders. Those are guys that are following this move higher, and they're just trying to buy the first little pullback and just jumping in at the highs. I know who's transacting there, right? I know the type of trader who's transacting there. So when you see transactions in a certain area, you understand who is transacting there. When I see large volume buying my levels, I know that it's the big guys that are working off the same level. So I'm like, okay, I can lean on that. But you will, as you study the footprint more, you will understand who is transacting where, and you'll be able to put a story together and be like, okay, these guys are most likely going to get screwed. They're buying here. You see the offer or whatever come in, soak them up, and you're like, oh, it's going to be a stop run down because you got thin prints on this push, and you're like, you can really quickly put the story together and you know what's about to happen. So it's really cool. But that takes a bit of time, and it takes a lot of screen time. I've got thousands and thousands and thousands of hours watching this stuff, and it's the only reason why I've been able to put it all together. That being said, let's get into some tape. I don't want these videos to be too long, but I wanted to give you a bird's eye view of what order flow is, how my footprint works, what is delta, my delta study, what real support and resistance is, and just basic intraday structure. I'm going to play this at 4 speed. This is yesterday's tape, playing off my 739 and 78. And I'm just going to play it at 4x, and I'm just going to pause it and just really briefly talk about the stuff that I just covered, okay? Now, granted, just remember, this is at 4x. So this will be, no different than, well, it'll be faster. But I want to get through a bunch of stuff because there's a whole sequence here that is really, 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 really nice. We go all the way back up to 78 here, and you see this tremendous absorption and resistance and weak buys. And we reverse right off my 75, 78. It's a beautiful thing. So let's let it rip. So right now we're coming down, and you see how this backfilled this? So we're backfilling. See this nice chunky volume? And as we pushed into here, there's nothing to buy. Every time we come in here, there's nothing to buy. So now you got all these low slammers here. Let me just pause it. What I just tell you about people who transact. Everybody sold here below 50, right? Everybody sold, 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 sold. These are like, oh, 50 broke down, 50 broke down. Now look at this big tail. Everybody who's short here below 50, my level's here right at 48.5. These guys are screwed. This is a rocket candle. So if this thing turns the corner here and starts bidding here past 52, this thing's going to push up, and everyone here is going to stop out and push us back up towards at least 58. So this is why people chase moves, right? This is what I'm talking about the 50 stuff. I always look for offside traders, and that's another thing that we'll cover in these videos. So watch this. Now what I'm watching here is does 52 here start bidding. So I'll watch this 93 and this 27 to really see if it starts pounding, right? If it starts pounding, this thing still wants to trade. If it starts pounding, look out, this thing's going to go. See that? Boom, delta flip. Decent buying here. Now we're looking for stronger buys. I would like to see some buyers. Yeah, there we go. So they're coming in here right at 52, exactly where it says. So now there's no real resistance until we get into some supply here from this candle into around 58, right? 58 to around 62. So we got a clear path to go higher. You can see sellers are trying to stuff there. So there's an offer here, 52. It wasn't much, but they absorbed what was there. Now, all I'm looking for is the close, right? Did we close above 48? See, seller step down right here. I know we're watching this faster. So seller step back down here, 48, right at my level. He's selling 50. So there's a strong seller here that just sold. You see it? Tap, tap. Now, all I'm looking for here now is can we get above him and bid above him right here? This guy right here. Now, he's had a couple of chances to push us down. We're already back above his positioning, right? See it, tap, tap, tap. He's taking another run at it, and there's a bid right here, right? See how we keep coming into here? As soon as it hit 49.50, he's like, sell it, sell it, sell it. But you see all this volume here, and there's really nothing up over here. So if this guy can't move it down, he's got to get out, and he forces us up. Boom. Okay, sell and balance flip to positive. What'd I tell you? Strong bidding here in a 55. 307 contracts side by side. They're smacking this here, right? So they're going to push out. They want to push up here at least into 58. New highs. You do have some supply that starts here right at basically this wick in a 57. Now you got some strong bids sitting right here that we can kind of lean on as support, right? That's support. As you can see, resistance starting to come back in here into 56. So they're going to push down. But watch here in that 105. See, 105, 207 right away. Boom. There it is. More buying. Waiting to supply. Hit that. Now can we come up here and hit 62, hit this chunk, and see if we can squeeze all the way back up. So perfect sequence there, right? Came back in, backfilled that we talked about. Bid support moved into the auction. Pushing through, stop run, boom. Now this is a stop run, right? It's not a crazy stop run, but they're starting to push on the stops. So this is really aggressive buying coming in here where it's just like buy, 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 where the buying balance on the side by side is just consistent. You don't want to get in front of this stuff, right? This tells me like, yo, do not short this. Even if you got a nice short setup, don't get in front of this right now. So right here, this is where you have more resistance here into the auction here, right around 62. As you can see, as soon as we push into it, you see it's 60 here. See how they're absorbing that? The bid's got to get past it. See how nice that is? See how beautiful that comes in and soaks it? A negative 1100 delta. This is a big offer that comes back in. It's refreshing its supply from right here. So the bid's got to keep bidding this. There's good bidding coming into it. It's just they got to keep the party going here. So now where's the support? Well, the support's going to have to move up. There's a lot of buying coming in here, right? Right here at 60. So they're buying this high. They're buying this very high. So watch this bid here at 60. Does it like pull back here like 58 holds? See how the bid is there? So the bid's right there. So you can look at this and be like 59.5 here is basically where the bid is sitting right above my 58 level. So watch when price comes down in here. Does it hold? Look below the bid. Now let's see if 58 holds up. That's all I'm concerned about. I want it to trade the level. I don't care that the bid is sitting here. I want it to trade my level and then gauge the tape as it comes into it. So right here, they plunge into the level and they try to slam it. Okay, so we open, there's no bid, got to the very top, everybody sells the top of this. This is normal. And we plunge back into the level. We look below the level. This is what I wanted to do. And you see this very strong offer here trying to sell it, but it's met by a weak offer into these lows, right? So there's only 60 contracts on. You did 1,000 contracts right here, and you only did 60 right here. So they got to keep pushing here and find the supply here to keep moving past this. Otherwise, this 1,041 here, these guys are slamming the lows, and if we pull back up on them, then I zero in on this guy and be like, oh, you guys are trapped. So let's see what happens here. Plunge again. Another go. Another go. Another go. Okay, you see what happened there? We had a really weak sell print, and they came in there and they plunged. They sold a whole lot more here, and it did not break. They sold about 3,000 contracts, right? They're barely able to make a new low on that auction, especially at the lows. They drilled it. We had 0 contracts here, right? Pretty much. We did 980 into these new lows, and they didn't budget. We're already back above. So there's a warning sign here that there is a bid support that's moved up in the auction here in the 56, right? That the sellers need to get through. Look at that. Now, if I hold this level, this gives me a target to trade up into 78 here again. This isn't like doing after the fact. I had these levels the night before this, right? Even 2 days before this. This is all normal for us, right? So now we've got bid support in this auction. Now we're going to go back up and test to see we have a very weak bid. So you're going to watch this 13. If we come back up to it, you want to see bidders step up here and try to buy it. But that's an easy 1R right there. Boom. So that's 1R. Now watch this 15. Let's see what happens. 19, 98, 106, 190. Look at this. 240, 290, 311, 390, 400. So look at the side-by-side delta. We're getting good bids coming in here. They're trying to find it. There's obviously some stops here through here. I know that the line in the sand is 72, right? Why 72? Because when we dropped this morning at 9:30, I saw this print right here, right? So I talked to the team after this happened. I said the line in the sand here is going to be around 72 if we pull back. So you're going to watch this print right here. See, when we started selling this, how hard they sold this. So you watch this print. Anytime for the rest of the day, when we come back up here, like if you look at this on a straight candle, you got no idea. You got no idea where that sits. But I know as soon as we get into here, 71, 72, we could see some resistance. So we got some good bidding coming in here. Boom, they're going to try to search for these new highs over here and try to get this up towards 78. So we got good bidding into the level. That's very nice. So that's a 2R trade for us right there. Boom, boom, level to level. Still thrusting into the level. So now it's sniffing around here above my 68. Weak bid. They need to keep bidding here. 11. But there's good, strong side-by-side delta. So this thing can continue. See how they found 500 more contracts. So there's really strong directional buying going on here. Now, what I tell you, 72 line in the sand. As soon as we get into it, look at this offer coming in here. 1,100 contracts. We made a new high. 9 contracts bought on the bid into the ask there, and 1,100 contracts are being sold. So there's someone here at 71 above my level here starting to unload. So you have to now watch him be like, okay, supply is coming back into this auction. Now, okay, sorry. It's wanting to trade this. Sorry, this is my algo here. So this is a beautiful setup for us to go long off of. But I'll just delete this here. It's wanting to auto trade. So you see how the auction died here? That was because of this. That was because of this print. This is because of the absorption, right? Which we dig into on another video. But this is our support was down here. So we could trade this down here now as far as here, unless an upper bid shows itself. See how powerful that is? When you understand the levels and the tape that the market works off of, it makes trading so much easier because you just know the hard work's done for you. Like these levels are just laid out automatically. Like it just runs all day, and I just always know what's going on. I don't have to do anything. All the hard work's done. All right, so now sellers step down, drilling down. But as you can see, as we sell down, there's a lot of buying going on. So big candle down. Everyone's just like rah, 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 short. But as it comes in, this thing is straight body red. But look at all the buying that's coming in. So this is what I'm saying about like this is how they hide their size. Okay? This is how they hide their size. A lot of buying comes in here into this previous area of bidding. I still wants to buy it here. We'll just keep canceling these orders. So again, it's coming into real support. Let's see if it holds. Sell, absorption, step down, seller step down, drill it down, buyer step in and try to absorb the inventory. See how he's selling here now at 1280, 63? But look at the bids coming in and soaking this up. This is why I say they like to hide how they transact, because they buy it as it's coming down on a straight red candle. See that? Beautiful. Back into the offer here. So now you watch this 1229, 172. Do they reload? See how we keep tapping them, tapping them, tapping them? We're not moving anywhere. Tap, tap. So we have to bid past 68-ish here. So we come up into the supply. He just reloads, pushes it down, reloads, pushes it down. And there's a very strong bid from 64 down here again, still holding this auction. So now we got a tight little battle here. It's really good tape. Okay, so now we're pulling above him. Do we start ripping this green here now? So I'm watching this 98 right here. Now that we get a bid, like this is how granular you can look at it. Be like, man, if we start bidding right above him, 67, 68 here. I'm watching the delta here now. This thing flips and starts turning. We've already absorbed all the inventory. Everyone tried to sell it down, and they're on the wrong side of this again because they bought it when this thing was straight red. I could see it on the delta that we're buying it up. And this is the key about understanding how they transact. Watch this. See this? Buying starting to come in. Oh, we're calculating a little bit lower here. You see my levels are kind of shifting here. It's just adjusting to what's going on. This was a day post-Fed that I hate. The levels constantly contract and expand. It's a frustrating day. So we come up to the offer. They weren't able to get it. Again, another push down. Where are we pushing down here? Into support. Well, let's see if they can get it down here to 58 here or not. Another drill down. Back into the bid. See how they immediately bought it again? Now we have a very weak offer into 60. Well, why 60, Sean? Well, you sold 261 you sold, look at this. Let's just go left, right? This is how I break stuff down. I don't want to get too complicated because we're going to revisit everything that I'm saying here in next videos, but there's so much gold in this auction at all times. So we sold 2,000 contracts here. Then we came down the same area. We sold 1,675. That's a 400 contract drop off. Then we sold 261 contracts. That's a massive drop off, right? It's a 1,400 contract drop off. Then from 261, we just came down here and sold 93, right? So when everyone tells you like, oh, it's getting weaker, it's gonna break. How can you break it when your volume continues to die off? How can you break it, right? when you see this tape, it's going to hold. What's the flip side to that? They come down here, and they step down and they drill it, right? This might happen on this one. I forget what kind of happens here, but they step down, and if they do drill it, you're going to see it. You're going to see them step down into there, and you're going to see a massive amount of supply step down and really put some pressure on that. Let's see what happens. See how they're stepping down here? Okay. So we did, what was it? I forget about the amount. 26 contracts. We came down, stab. They dropped 1,000 contracts into it. Now my side-by-side delta is all selling here now. It's not huge selling, but it's all selling as we come into the level. So if I want this long, like the algo wanted to take it, I would wait a second for this thing to trade and just see if it'll dip below and then come back up and make a gauge on the tape. So I saw the seller step down there and they're taking a stab at it lower. Now let's see if they're able to get past this bid support right here. And that's the bottom of the bid. So they're getting a run at it. Look at that. Beautiful hold. So now everybody that's sold here below here, if we start bidding it back above them, we're going to curl up and come right back up. But you see how the offer is now holding here? So now you have a lower offer in the auction here at 63. He's put pressure, but there's, again, they tried to take a run at my 58 level and weren't able to get it. But he's right here. If you're going to buy here, you got to get over the bid or get over the offer. So we got a really good battle here. Sellers have absorbed, step down, step down. They're stepping down. They're selling right here now, trying to force the auction lower. But again, more aggressive buying, meeting that. And look at that. So you can draw a line right here. And you see this a lot when you look at my footprint. You draw a line right here. All buying beneath it, all selling above it. Right? So a decision has to be made. Where? Pretty much right at my 63. You can see how much selling delta is going on right here and how much buying delta is going on. So there's just a line in the sand here. Yeah, 62 right here. Look at as soon as we pull into the offer. So if you're long here, boom, you got to get this bid here above 63, 64. You want to see, yeah, look, watch this. Let's see if we can get above it. The candle's going to close here in the middle in a minute, and we'll see how the next candle opens. See how the offer's keeping it really tight here? So you got definite resistance on the tape right here. But that trade gave me an R, right? That's all I need. Give me an R, 2R max. That's all I need. And I get these all day long. Doesn't matter if it's the ESNQ, whatever. So now that we supported that, if we plunge down here, I want to see a weak bid, right? Or a weak offer and want to see this thing immediately reverse. But as you can see, we just opened, took off. Said, no, not today, son. Came here, boom. Bids come in, force this thing over. It's not even strong bids. They were just, the sellers were exhausted here. There was nothing left to sell. They just could not push it down any lower. They didn't get to where they needed to get. And up we go. Now, it's going to come up here to 78. I'm going to let this thing run. It'll come up to 78. I'm not going to pause it. And we're going to observe the reversal off my 78 and how beautiful it was and how we faded it. Because there was some really good information once we got up there. So we'll just let it run. I'm going to take a sip of my espresso. Do-do-do-do. As you can see, we got a bid past that 70, 72. You see, as soon as we get in my 68 level there, it's more supply, more supply, more supply, right? So I'll speed this up a little bit just so we get up to 78 because I want you to see how it reversed beautifully off my level. We just keeled over. Again, try to flush the bid. Now, anytime we do that, I always observe the prints. See how we came down here? Fucking nothing to sell. Nothing to sell. 360, 148. You got to find supply, man, below this 58. You really got to find it. Let's see if they get it. Here they go. Now they'll try 360. 630. So they're getting a good look into it. Watch this close. Watch this close and how it closes and how it opens. There we go. There's 53. Now, naturally, we do find support here. That's a nasty red close. But a lot of times this level just gets bought immediately. Do. All right. Sellers have stepped down here now. So now we're taking a run here in the lows. We're trying to break this level to come back down to lower bid support. Where would that be? Into 48. There it is. 48 into here. But let's speed I'm going to speed this up a lot quicker here. And we'll get up to 78 here. That wants to short. I'm going to take that off. Nothing wrong with the short, but we're not taking trades here. I'm not going to let the algo run here. Good soak here. Beautiful soak. Sellers right here. So nice little 5-point battle here between my two levels. Obviously, I'd rather come here. Oh, you don't know that, obviously, but guys who know me know I'd rather get it right here. There it is. And then see if we got a bid through 58 here. That was a really strong rejection. There's no very strong offer here and a weak bid. Boom. Look at that. No offer, no offer, no offer. Sellers have stepped down here to 51. So this is the 50 shorts I'm talking about. So everyone's piling in here. Short 50, short 50, short 50. Okay. They're right here. And now they're stepping down here. And see if we tag 39. And this is where we bottom out right here. We do a double tap here. We don't quite hit 39. And then this is my area I'm looking for price to obviously, well, not obviously, you don't know that. This is where I'm looking for price to reverse, as always. And if I long here, I look for price to come up to here. And that's a nice 6R trade. Comes down, tags it, nothing to sell. Sellers are right here. They're very heavy low, right? So you see 48 and then up at 58 here for offers. So we'll take on the first offer here, 50. So 50 is kind of a contextual thing. We know who trades there. We've talked about that. There's retail. Closed above my 48 level. Good chance to continue. Took out those stops. Next stops here are right at 58. This guy, and then we got this mountain of supplies here. We haven't forgot about him, right? 70 to 72. Boom. Strong buying coming in here. Amazing. Sorry, I had the screen there. I should have looked it down low there a little bit. Sorry, I don't know if it was cut off. My apologies. A lot of buying coming in here. Holy moly, 62. Somebody bought the highs there. You see the market. Market said, whoa, hold on here. See that? So these are chasers, right? So this is why you never chase it. So when I see these guys buying right at the highs, I'm like, ooh, this thing's going to pull back on me. Look what, right? Intraday structure, right? We talked about this, right? Boom. Reverses on them. Backfill, right? Very thin. Market needs to come back, repair structure. Bidding and selling here in a 58. So we'll see who wins this. Go. So you can see here, right in the 63, there's no bid, right? Strong offers are right here, so we got to push through 63 here to keep the party going. But we're bidding here now below 58. You see that bid that's kind of short up underneath the candles there? See that nice blue balance? Now there's a mountain of supply here as soon as you get into 60, 62. But this held, right? The closes are holding the level, and eventually they lift the offer, run the stops. See, look at that. Strong bidding coming in here, right? Bid, right? They're trying to lift the offer here. Look at the buying coming in here, 64, right here, this 1800. So someone's trying to buy it heavy here. Back in there. See the sellers come in, soak it there, 65. there's a heavy bid here from 63 down to like 62. Every little pullback here, they just keep adding. Again, another tight close there. There you go. Nothing to sell here in the 60. Market's going to try to take on this supply right here. It's up to the bears here to kind of get into the support. Your main support here is down to around 57, 56. It's trying to step up here now to 61. You can see a lot of bidding coming in here on this new high. 250 here into the highs. 380, 450. Strong buying here. Yeah, there it goes. Saw that coming. That's a stop run. They start drilling it, buying into the highs, and boom, they take care of themselves. So now we're going to push up here. Now we got all the room here to get into 72. Right, this is our line in the sand here, 70, 72. They're going to try to reshort it here. You can see them on tape. But let's get it up here to 78, and let's see how this reverses. So there's some really good tape up in here, and you see the supply come in. So I want you to watch as we push into my 70, 75, 78, and watch the inventory. Watch the offer come in and soak the bid. Let's let it get up there here. Won't take too long here now. And then we'll wrap it up here for the day. So where's our support? Right? Well, they tried to put it here at 67. We sold through it. I look for this level to come back and retest. The bid support is kind of right here, right around 61. 61 to 57. So see that? We hit 61 to the tick. Bids came in there immediately and said, yeah, we'll take a stab at that. We'll try to protect it here, protect this auction. Another stab, another stab. You see the sellers are moving down into it, trying to break it. Okay. Again, another new low. Nothing there to sell. Okay, very weak offer into here. Market's immediately moving away from here because there's nothing to sell. There's heavy supply here, but as we come down, try to trade into here, there's nobody interested in selling here yet. So the market moves away from that place, right? It moves away from it because there's nothing to sell. And you see the market's now reversing, right? This is why order flow will always see it first, okay? So now it's going to be another stop run here past 70. There it goes. What'd I tell you? This is another stop run right here. You can just see it, man. You know where the stops are, all right? And when you see this type of bidding coming in here, now everybody gets super excited. They're like, let's go. Fucking yeah. But I want you to watch what happens when we get into 75, 78, when we get into my level. I want you to see how the inventory gets soaked and we go down, okay? You can see it slowly starting to come in here at 73, but we're going to move a little bit higher. You can see them starting to sell into the move a little bit, right? Again, thin structure, right? Whenever I see this, I'm like, this is always in the back of my head. We can come back and backfill it. Now, I don't want this. I don't want to get trade at this level. I want to trade it here at my 78.50 or 75.78 because this is, if you hang out with me long enough in the room, you'll understand a little bit why, a little bit about these levels. So I'm just trying to give it room here to get a second push on it, and then you'll see. Watch this. Watch when we get into 75.78. Watch how nice this is. Okay, we trade the level. We're in it. Everyone's rah, 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 new high, buying the breakout. Look at this. Look at the absorption here. Look at this 1200 negative delta, right? They're buying the absolute crap out of it here. Look at it. Look at how they're taking on the sell inventory here. Negative 899. There's like negative 1300, negative 900. They're really quickly absorbing the buying that's going on here. We put in a weak bid here, only 78 contracts. We went from 800 contracts basically to 78 contracts. Look at this. Immediately sold. Okay. Negative 390, 303. That's aggressive selling. Just like aggressive buying on the way up is aggressive selling on the way down. Here's your bid support here at 72. What was previous resistance that I said before we got up there is now trying to bid. Okay. Now it's up to the bears to get this through here. If they get it through here, we can at least come down to 63 and backfill this. Okay. Look how beautiful this tape is. See how heavy they are here at 73 on the offer? So it literally went right to my level, to the tick, and sellers engaged there. There's a reason why it's 75.78. You wouldn't think it's 75.78 because it's not a retail thing, right? But for us guys who know math, we get it. Now, that last little pot right here, there's no bid. 1,700 contracts bought, 974 contracts got, 7 contracts bought. There's no bid left up in here. What does that mean? When there's no bid left, the market has to go downwards. It needs to look where other buyers want to buy. Now watch this, 72. This is where the bid is. If it fails, there's no support until where? Down around 62. Look at this. Sellers step in. Now you want to see them offer where 72 is pretty much. Pull back. You want to see this level rejected right away. Look how heavy it is into the lows. They're trying to save it here on the bid, but they're selling into it here. They're trying to. What I tell you. This is textbook stuff, right? Absorb, push down, put in a lower offer, push lower. It's just like the bid. Absorb, push higher, put in a higher bid, absorb, selling, move higher. Textbook, right? 72. Right here, right where that former line in the sand was. What's the high of that bid or offer? It's right here, 72, 71.75. Now they're going to test the offer here, right? You've got supply all through here, right? Look at that. Look at that. Look at all the selling coming in on tape now. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is order flow. Okay, there is so much information that I can give you about this stuff and so much information that you can take away from it to help you with your own trading. This will be dived into a lot more on series of videos, but I'm hoping you enjoyed this first video. This thing's just going to keep going down. You just see a constant lower offer dropping down, dropping down. I hope you enjoyed this first video. It'll be the first in a series of videos. Next video I think we'll do is like absorption or something like that. This is a good foundational video, and I hope you get a lot of replay value because it actually covered a lot of stuff. Okay, but this is like the basics. This is really all you need. But now you have to rewatch it like 100, 200 times, right? And then you start training your eyes and you'll be able to see it. Click the link in the description. Maybe give me a thumbs up on this video if you like it. Cool. You want to join me? We just open it up. It's for free, man. I'm on the mic talking tape all day. Free tutorials. You get my daily watch list, my levels, live stream. I'll be there, man. I'll grow it as long as people show up and hang out, and you'll be working with a guy that really understands the auction. That's all I can tell you. So I know a lot of stuff that most people don't know about the auction. That's all I'll say. So anyways, if you found some value, give me a thumbs up. I appreciate the views. Like and subscribe if you want, and I'll keep these videos coming. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Look at that tape go. All right, guys. Thank you very much, and I'll see you on the next video.